Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
Look, 2020 has proven to be the year of many things, and the same for 2022. But if you're a small business, this could also be the year you switch to a better payroll. Gusto wasn't just built for small businesses, it was built for the people behind them. Their online payroll is easy to use. Gusto can automatically calculate paychecks and file all your payroll taxes, which means you have more time to run your business. Plus, Gusto does way more than payroll. Gusto helps with time tracking, health insurance, 401ks, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. You get the idea. It's super easy to set up and get started. If you're moving from another provider, they can transfer all your data for you. It's no surprise that 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener to this podcast, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/compliance. That's gusto.com/compliance. I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today. The Daily Compliance News for September 17, 2021, the Briefcase Companies edition. And we begin with that lead story from YaHooFinance. What are briefcase companies? Well, they are intermediaries favored by governments, corrupt governments in Africa particularly, to act as conduits for traders' bribes to officials, taking a cut and then directing state business back to the traders. This comes from the guilty plea of Anthony Stimler, who left Glencore in 2019 after paying millions of dollars in bribes to African officials and intermediaries. He pled guilty in a U.S. court to FCPA violations, and this apparently plea was recently unsealed. He knows not only where the bodies are buried, but it looks like in many cases he actually helped bury them. He began bribing in 2007 using coded language in emails, and did so through looks like 2019 when he was caught. He paid as much as $300,000 per month, and the amount of bribes is pretty outstanding. Glencore said it's reserved $260 million for a settlement with the Department of Justice or a variety of actors probably. So big news around the Glencore case, and certainly good news for the Department of Justice. Next up, from the Seattle Times, Ex-Kenyan sports minister paid a fine of over $32,000 on Thursday to avoid a 6-year jail sentence after being convicted of corruption and abuse of office for misappropriating money set aside for the team's 2016 Olympic appearance. He paid the fine rather than go to jail. The allegations were that he was accused of stealing more than $5.7 million. Conviction for corruption in Kenya. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, reports that the Justice Department has decided to fight the opioid settlement with the Sackler family, asking the trial judge to delay implementation of the court approval of this settlement until the federal appeals courts have weighed in on this. The U.S. trustee William Harrington, who is a part of the DOJ unit monitoring bankruptcy courts, said the bankruptcy court was wrong to approve the settlement earlier this month, and the ruling will likely be overturned by a higher court. It sets a stage for the fight over the settlement, which will move to the federal appeals court, which oversees bankruptcy courts in the state of New York. And finally, corruption at the World Bank as it cancels a prominent report rating the business environment in the world's countries after an investigation concluded that senior bank management pressured staff to alter data affecting the ranking of China and other companies. The allegations of undue influence and corruption moved to the highest level of the World Bank. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.